Welcome to Mastering CS Candid Leader Insights, the podcast where we dive into the world of customer success with industry leaders. I'm your host, Irina Cismas, and today I'm joined by Patrick Ford, Customer Success Manager at Softr, a no-code platform for building apps and client portals. Patrick, I'm really happy to have you here. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Before we dive in, I want to do a background review. You basically came into CS from a background in education and instructional design, and you are now a CSM at Softr. Paint us a picture of how your day-to-day there is. Who are your customers? What does the work actually look like? Tell us more about the company you work for.
Yeah, so Softr is as you mentioned, it's a full stack platform, no code and AI driven to build software, right? For non-technical teams, a lot of the people that I see and work with every day, a lot of our customers are non-technical. We do have developers that come in and use Softr, but I would say probably 80 to 90% are very non-technical. They're operations people, they're HR managers, they are product people, right? And so my day-to-day looks, being a CSM, I do lots of calls. I think I looked at my Fathom a while back, and just within the last year, I've done almost 1,200 calls with different people, which is, yeah, anywhere from, usually it's around, I don't know, 5 to 10 a day. So I talk to a lot of different customers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of different customers and from all different industries and backgrounds and skill levels. And so my day-to-day usually involves a lot of these types of calls. The subject matter is extremely diverse. We're still a relatively small company, I think 50 to 60 people at Softr still. And so my day, obviously, I do email, some support, some kind of sales stuff. We're bringing on some more sales-oriented people to do more of the sales side. When I first came on, it was very PLG focused. We didn't really do any sort of like sales, high pitch sales type stuff. And so now we're transitioning and our company's maturing a little bit more, where we're stepping into more mid-market and enterprise companies. And so I'm doing more solutions, engineering, support, implementation ideas, helping customers get more value out of Softr across their entire organization. So a lot of my calls that I do consist exactly of that. Of course, email support, I do a little bit of sales stuff on the back end of that as well. But really, the majority of my day encompasses just speaking with customers, getting insights from them, and then funneling those insights to our product team, to our sales team. And so really, the CSM function at Softr is really an arm of product in a certain way for gleaning insights, helping us build what people are asking for, helping us make sure that they're successful with those things, and making sure that not only we retain customers, but that I'm an empathetic advocate for what they need internally. So that's the majority of what I'm doing and what my day-to-day consists of. Obviously, there are nuances and there are little small things that everybody does at a smaller company like that, but on the whole, that's what I do.
So help me understand. Is it more a combination, the CS function? Is it more of a combination of CS support, some sales engineering? So basically buffer between the sales and the CS to make sure that what it was sold, it is actually delivered. Did I got it right? So basically there's no formal structure of that's the support team, that's the CS team, that's the sales engineering team. It's actually a blend in of multiple roles sitting under one head. Did I got it right?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty close. Yeah, I do a variety of, it depends on the customer, right?
Yeah.
Our free customers and our basic and some of the lower plan customers, we actually have a full-fledged support team. In fact, our support team is one of the probably highest rated out there because it's real human support. They're available 24/7 on pretty much every plan. And they've just seen everything that there is to see about Softr, right? They answer questions all day, every day. So mine is a little bit removed from the support side, like the support tickets side of things, and more focused on small businesses, mid-market enterprise customers who are needing help on gauging implementation, more of the, like you mentioned, the sales engineering side. But it is there's a lot of things that kind of fall under a single hat. We're small enough still that we don't need that segmentation just yet, but we're getting to that point where we need more segmentation across those roles.
And I'm curious if the structure of the CS team suffered any changes when the company go to market shifted from a PLG to a hybrid approach. I'm guessing that in this moment it's a hybrid. It's PLG with sales-led combination. And this actually drove the decision to formalize more the CS function. Am I correct in what I'm assuming?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say we're still in that transition, right? Of not really transition from PLG to sales, like purely sales, but adding sales as an adjacent thing to PLG. I would say we're still primarily a PLG company, but certainly the hybrid approach is something that we're focused on implementing currently. We're bringing on like some more sales oriented people to actually go after some higher value targets and companies. And instead of, I always like to think of it as PLG is traditionally like a bottom up kind of thing, right? Where you have, especially with no code, where your builders are people who have a very defined pain point, but they're usually lower in the org chart than if you're selling like Salesforce or Workday or something like that, right? But we're starting to get into this level where we're talking to more C-suite people and founders and some of those types of people. And so a sales team makes a ton of sense there because we're actually able to provide some more targeted approaches to some of these companies rather than having to help the builders push it up from the bottom. We're now able to tap into some of the C-suite and some of the mid people in the org chart and then allow Softr to filter down through the organization instead. And so that's a critical kind of like dual-sided thing. We are still trying to find champions, right? We want to identify champions in certain organizations and help them promote Softr across their organization. But that is there's a lot of variables that go into that, and it's just a single prong approach. By also focusing on some of the people that are higher up in the org chart, we're able to filter Softr down through the organization to provide both directions to get it implemented across an organization. So it's a process. It's a messy process, but it's one that's challenging and one that's fun. And our team has had a good time implementing and working through.
Tell me, what does good onboarding look like for you guys? What are you aiming for in the first few months? And how do you know when you've got there?
Yeah, that is a great question. And I'd be surprised if anyone says that they have this 100% figured out. In my opinion, onboarding and activation is probably one of the most difficult things to get right, especially with no code. I think there are unique challenges to no code that are not present in other pieces of software, because not only do I have to convince them to use the software, we also have to train them to build the software that they need, right? For other vertical solutions, when you're selling it and the software doesn't need to be built, right? It's already there. With Softr,
prior to this.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All of that stuff is already there. You're just convincing them, hey, this product is good. You should use it, right? No code presents very unique challenges because not only do I have to convince them that Softr is good for building their software, I also have to convince them that they should build their software, right? And so they have to walk through two gates there. And not every user is up for that challenge. And really good onboarding is, what we've tried to do at Softr is, for one, provide them plenty of support and help resources, both self-serve and more active as opposed to passive guidance. And the way that we do that that's one of the reasons why I do so many calls, is because we want to make our support team and our CS team as open as possible to help people get through that first door, right? To say, hey, Softr can do what you're looking to do, and here are some resources that we are providing to help you do that. One of which is actually our partner network. So very similar to HubSpot and some of these other tools that have these agencies and freelancers that can help you implement that particular piece of software. We have a similar network. And so that's one thing that we really push people towards who are not willing to build themselves is work with someone to help you get this up and running. And in most cases, once people have a piece of software that's custom built for them, they retain over the long term, right? And so the onboarding piece is a combination. There's several different approaches that we take to it. One is make it easy to get something functional as quickly as possible. Our AI generator helps do that very quickly and easily. The second one is after they've reached that point, help them with both self-serve resources and offering calls and kind of support to help get them past any humps or hurdles that they may encounter. And once they're past that point, helping them with follow-ups as well. So keeping in constant contact with them. If anybody is using Softr, you'll know that we send out tons of emails. There's emails going out all the time. We have community calls that I lead every month where people can jump in and ask questions. So really just making ourselves available to people is one of the core tenets of onboarding and activation, I would say, is just being available to people to answer questions and help them get unstuck, basically.
And do you also have a dedicated CS function for all those partners that you are managing, or basically they are self-serve? Who handles the partner part? Is it a dedicated CSM?
So that position is not a CSM, but we call him the partnership manager. Leo Selly is doing that right now. But super great position because he's solely focused on partnerships or partners, our partner network, I should say, and making sure that our partners are receiving leads, that the leads are high quality, and that the leads are actually having their needs met by our partners, right? So there's a two-way monitoring there that takes place. We try to stay out of the business of any sort of deals that are worked out, right? That's between the clients and the partner that they work with. But our goal is to make sure that people can find high quality partners quickly and that the partners find high quality leads quickly, right? That's otherwise you've got this
I know it
double-sided
doesn't
mark.
work. If the matchmake is not perfect, it doesn't work and it ruins what comes after
Yeah.
that. And speaking of this, once the client is onboarded and activated, how does a healthy one look like for you? What's the definition of a healthy customer for you?
A healthy customer for us, I would say that there's two aspects depending on the market that we're looking at. If it's a small business, there's obviously limited room for expansion in a small business, right? They may have other use cases, but a healthy client for us is one who comes into the product, builds what they need, and they have a functioning app that they're using on a day-to-day basis inside their business, right? Whether or not they expand may or may not happen, but that's what the baseline for a successful customer for us looks like. For something like a mid-market or enterprise customer, a successful customer would be someone who comes in, who does this kind of the same thing, maybe on a smaller team, but they're also talking to other teams and putting us in contact with other teams to help introduce new use cases that Softr can be used for, right? So a lot of people use Ashby as their applicant tracking system. You can rebuild Ashby with Softr, right? So if you need a specialized way to track, or you have a specialized process or something like that, a lot of people find that they're able to save money by reducing tech stack, reduce complexity inside their organization. And a successful customer for us on that side of things looks like we're continually leapfrogging from department to department, helping each department solve their own pain points by building their own software.
I'm curious because build versus buy is something that I'm constantly seeing. And it becomes a theme now with the, I would say, explosion and the hype of all this AI that is available and is basically democratized, if you want. I'm curious, how do you guys leverage it? And in the CS day-by-day things, what's the specific use case that you are doing it? How do you leverage it? From a CS lens point of view, not from a technical and product, because I assume, and you mentioned that you have AI incorporated and basically this AI function helps the end user. Now I'm asking how you guys from a CS perspective leverage the AI infrastructure to basically make the team more productive and more efficient.
Yeah, so you're talking about the team, the client's team, or our internal?
No, I'm talking about the CS team from Softr as we speak. How is the CS team from Softr leveraging AI in their day-to-day operations, day-to-day CS work?
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to, first of all, we dog food our own product pretty heavily, right?
Okay.
We use it internally for a lot of different things. And so
Tell
part
me
of
how
it
you
is,
used it for, tell me how you used it for CS. I'm super curious what you
yeah,
built
so
for
for
CS.
one, we have a bunch of different data sources that we use to collect data about customer usage and to identify expansion and things like that. We're using BigQuery and some other different tools. But one of the things that's a common pain point pretty much at every company is they have data in like all these different places, but no way to combine it into a cohesive dashboard, right? And so in CS, we actually did this. We created a whole enterprise sales dashboard where we have all of our standard terms and MSAs and our standard vendor risk assessment. And we have resources there that are very easily accessible. Our bank letter, our cyber insurance, like all of that stuff is there for us to very quickly access. But then we also have dashboards where we can actually go to see in a cohesive place, who are our customers? What are the organizations? Across an organization, how many users are there? Sometimes we find organizations that have multiple departments, and there are people in each department that are using Softr and they don't even know that each other are using Softr, right? And so those types of dashboards that we built in Softr are really helpful for helping us see an account from a holistic perspective with actual usage data behind it. And so that's just one example. Our marketing departments have also used it for numerous other things, for influencer created content creation management and all kinds of stuff. But I guess to get back to your original question about the AI piece, we do use AI heavily inside of Softr for creating custom dashboards. We have AI blocks that you can use to build things that we don't have built in natively. We have AI chatbots as well that you can train on your data. So if you wanted users to be able to log in and ask questions about specific pieces of data that you're storing, we have AI agent fields inside of our database. So if you need to enrich company data and all of this kind of stuff, you can do that right inside of Softr. And so, yeah, the AI piece is huge. There's obviously a ton of different use cases for it. And then, of course, we have the co-build that we can build entire apps using AI that are really great for business apps. So there's a lot of different pieces to it. But depending on the user, the customer that we're speaking with, some companies aren't allowed to use AI, right? They don't like using it. But the flexibility of Softr is that you can either build with AI or you can not build with AI. You can build manually as well, which is not the case for a lot of other kind of things or pieces of software that you may be using.
And for the PLG segment, the
Mhm.
one that basically can be served through CS in one-to-many approach. The customer value doesn't justify, I don't know, a lot of interactions. I would say a white glove approach. Do you leverage AI through automations, or what type of playbooks and automations do you guys run to serve the PLG segment in terms of CS?
Yeah, so a lot of that, our customer support bears a lot of the brunt on that. So even
Okay.
on like our basic plans, we provide 24/7 chat support,
Mhm.
which is it is a lift, right? But there's also this element of social proof as well in that, right? Because you may have a small customer that comes in that's building some sort of a gardening app that they're using on the weekend, right? If they're successful with that, they're going to talk about it, right? And so this has actually been a very core part of Softr's strategy from the early days, even of providing social proof by building very simple apps, even from PLG customers. But again, a piece of that does come back to we provide community calls for every single person to be able to jump in, to be engaged, to ask questions. We have a really active community forum as well, where our partners are actually in there answering questions, our support team's in there answering questions. And so really, even for the PLG people, it's very kind of manual support heavy. We've actually found that the majority of people that I talk to, they're actually thrilled that they don't have to talk to an AI, believe it or not. Anyone who has tried to talk with an AI through support, it'll give you four options and none of them are the option that you're looking for, right?
I
So
know.
inevitably you have to talk to somebody anyway. So rather than provide them a bad experience with that right up front, we just allow people to speak with a human right off the bat. And I think that's going to be something that people are going to be asking for more and more, quite honestly, is yes, it's heavy. Yes, it's tedious to deal with. We do use some AI automations for newsletters and routing and making sure that people get paired with the right person if they have a call. And Enrichment is a big piece as well. But in general, like supporting just basic PLG customers, a lot of it is still actually human touch, right? Empathic understanding, making sure that people have their needs met. And so far, we've had nothing but positive feedback just about that.
Awesome. And now I have to ask, being a no-code platform, what's your company position when it comes to buy versus build? Do you buy any piece of software, or you are basically building whatever you need, which is basically custom to your needs?
Yeah, this is honestly the buy versus build question is probably the one that I get the most. People don't always know to phrase it that way, but that's essentially what they're asking a lot of times. And so it usually comes down to a couple of different things. One is, do they have what is their budget, right? If their budget is extremely low and they are okay with building, they have the technical ability, they have the time, Softr is a really good choice for them. If they have tons of budget, but they don't have time, one of our partners is usually a great solution, right? Because they can just hand it off to the partner, explain what they need, and the partner can build it for them. In the case with just buying something that's not good for Softr, usually it's neither of those things, right? They have no budget and no time, right? That's the one where it usually makes sense for more people to buy some sort of vertical solution. And we're totally okay with that, right? Software's not going to be for everybody, just like other pieces of software are not for everybody as well. But we do try to do as much as we can to make sure that people have the resources that they need.
And in your particular case, when it comes to your CS team, what is the operational infrastructure behind it? Does it sit only on Softr, or do you basically use other tools to basically plug the information from software?
Yeah, we do have a tech stack. We use with CS specifically, we use a combination of HubSpot, Fathom, Softr, right? There are specialized pieces that are not going to work for all use cases, and actually we used to have actually a full dashboard, a full CRM essentially that we built in Softr for CS.
Yeah.
But due to integrations and things like that, we're still adding on more every day. But we have basically a huge kind of tech stack of, Fathom, HubSpot, Softr, obviously email is comprised in there as well. Those are probably the big four, right? I would say. And then Google Meet, of course. We use Google Meet for just about all the actual meeting stuff.
Now, I want to wrap this conversation by asking you about one habit or one way of thinking or something that you learned the hard way early on in your career, because you have a very, your background has multiple pieces, and it's a puzzle from multiple industries, vertical. You've basically went into customer service, into media production, into instructional design, education, and now also the CS part. All combined gives you a unique view, a unique perspective. And I'm basically curious of what do those little pieces individually impact on what you deliver now? What did you learn from each and every one?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. So I would not characterize myself as a salesperson, right? Which is probably why we're hiring salespeople, right? Is like, I'm super passionate, but haggling over prices and deals and stuff, not exactly something I like to do or that I'm necessarily good at, I would even say. But one thing that I am good at and that I like doing is helping people solve problems, helping educate people, and helping just the satisfaction that I get from seeing people be successful is very rewarding, right? And I think that carries over even from education. When I worked at the university and did instructional design, it's thrilling working with faculty, like helping them design curriculum and design activities to do with their students and hearing their feedback about the students loved this part, but they hated this part. And so taking that reaction and those responses and applying it to the SaaS world is very similar. And a lot of kind of what I do in CS is very similar to the university in that it involves a lot of different disciplines. For one, media production, kind of curriculum design, feedback loops, right? But also just interpersonal skills, right? Being able to communicate, being able to be empathetic towards people when they have issues. And a lot of those same things have transferred from place to place. Obviously, I've learned different things at different places. I would say at Softr, more of the sales paperwork, sales processes, that is really the stuff that I've learned very heavily about working at Softr. But the support piece I learned very heavily at Adalo, where I was previously, and then obviously the education piece at the university. And yeah, all three of those things are really great for CSMs, in my opinion, because I'm able to hopefully identify problems, help people find solutions to them, and then guide them and help them be successful. And then the great part is that I get to see people come back after they built their app and they're like, "Hey, we built this app. I can't wait to show it to you." I have a lady that I met with yesterday. She's building an app for her business, and she's working with a partner to do it, and she's so stoked, and she's already trying to schedule a meeting with me months in advance to show me what she's built or what they've built together. So it's really exciting to be able to see that kind of stuff, and it's really rewarding. But it is really interesting to see how all those different places wrap up together.
Patrick, this was a really interesting conversation. Not many CSMs come into the seat through instructional design and at a product where customers are actually building things. So thank you for getting me the chance to basically showcase your story. To everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and mastering customer success.